Well, here I am again, and didn't plan on making a follow-up video, but uh, stuff that's happened since I made the last one, I feel like I absolutely need to. So, first of all, I just want to say thank you to everyone who took the time to send me a message or, whatever. I think people got some messages to me through a variety of sources and things. I just want to say thank you. I haven't responded to each one of you, but I just want to say thank you. Thanks for the encouragement. It seems to me that me and our church and I guess like even my inner circle of people or friends, influences, it seems to me that like we're not alone. There's a lot of people out there that are feeling this like urgency and I don't know, just this expectancy and I don't know. It's just like a burden of sorts, I guess. So anyway, I want to be careful like what I say because I don't want to, I don't want to. I'm not here to like go too much into like personal details of anybody. Um, my intention in this is just to show you how great God is, and it's funny to me when people are like, "Is God real?" And like, and even I don't know. We'll talk about this here in just a second, but like, just having questions about a lot of things, and I'm telling you things I'm seeing right now. There's just, it's crazy, crazy what happens when you just let God have His way, and yeah. So anyway, last week we had a situation in which we had a great church service. Everything was wonderful, but we had a situation where we had a lady come to the altar who unfortunately had multiple demons, in her, and I think it's the first time many of us had ever encountered anything, at that scale, been that close to something like that. And prayed and prayed, and I'm so happy that those demons left her, right? And pretty incredible moment. This last week has just been full of people talking to me and asking questions and praying for us and just a lot of different things. And for me, it's been a lot of like just I guess praying and trying to figure out exactly like I don't know what's next or like how do I what would I have done differently if anything, like is this what God is really preparing us for, like this type of spiritual warfare, like I've read like books, I've reread like the Gospels, trying to figure out like specifically like what did Jesus do in these moments, how did he handle these situations, how did the disciples handle these situations, just different things like that, and reminded myself, right? Like this is the thing, I don't think the sermon's been posted from our church from Sunday, but if you have questions about this stuff, like I highly encourage you to watch that sermon, because literally, like I just, I talk and like give testimony and stuff, but like a lot of it is just me reading the Bible, which is like totally against everything you should do. Like when you're preaching, like I get that, but I just follow the leading of the Lord. And for our church in that moment, that was very important for us. And so, but if nothing else, it'll give you like a pretty good foundation on some of the stuff I'm talking about. So anyway, all that to say, we had a pretty awesome encounter. This I don't I don't want to say awesome encounter, but just like a move of God, I guess is the best way to say it. Like God showed up in a miraculous way this weekend in multiple ways. But I guess like we'll start by saying that last week, everything that happened, it was crazy because like we were supposed to, as a church, we were supposed to be making apple butter on that Saturday. And you're like, well, Kevin, why does it matter when you make apple butter? Apple butter is a big day for our church. Like it's a lot of work. And we ended up having to move it. And because we had to move it, last Saturday is when, I don't know if you remember in that previous video, but I was telling you, like, I got to spend a lot of time in prayer, just felt a burden. And then all that happened in our church on Sunday. And so already in my mind, I was like, man, this is incredible that like, we had this opportunity, or I felt like, I was as prepared as possible that I could have been, in prayer and things like that. And like, man, I would have been super tired, like, I was joking. Well, I'm not going to joke, but anyway, if you know me, I like to joke, but so basically, so we didn't have apple butter. So we moved it to this last Saturday. So that's when we had apple butter. So we wake up super early. We're working hard all day. Like, just so you know, like, typically speaking, like, well, I guess not typically, but a lot of times, like, we're getting finished around like 5:30, 6 o'clock. There's been times in the past where like we're cleaning kettles with a flashlight. So like a lot of times it goes into that 7 o'clock hour. I think last year it wasn't that late, but it was still, around 6 o'clock or so, I'd say. So anyway, one of the things that happened this year is we noticed that like the apple butter was cooking a lot faster and like cooking down. So we were like, well, this is weird. We've been making apple butter for like over 30 years. And so it's like, it's never been like this. So anyway, this happens, and we're like, are we gonna be able to go home sooner? And so like everyone's kind of like super excited about this, super happy, and so we get to the place where we're starting to take off the first kettle, and we have two, and so like we're doing this. Well, then all of a sudden, I hear somebody say, "Hey, someone wants to speak to the pastor," which sometimes you're just like, "Here we go." So they talk, and there's these two women that come up. And I ask them, what do you need? And they're like telling me, we need prayer. And one of them kind of goes into the details of some stuff that she's going through, and like she's crying, so I could tell like this is a heavy thing for her in the moment. And she says, she's like, Pastor, I'm going through spiritual warfare right now. And I'm like, man, this is crazy. And so, we didn't like talk about anything. Obviously, I'm not going to be like, hey, do you have a demon? Like whatever. That's not how this works. Like, I just wanted to pray for her, knowing that, the enemy's constantly fighting us, right? And so, anyway, I felt really bad because like we had to get these kettles off. Like we have to do this right now. Sorry, didn't mean to hit that. We have to get these kettles off and everything. And so I just asked him like, listen, I would love to pray with you, but do you mind if we finish up here? Like, are you okay to wait? And then let us pray. And she was like, yeah, it's totally fine. So like we go into fast, like as fast as we can. Like we're trying to clean this, to get the stuff put up and clean the kettles. It's a big process, right? Like it's a lot of work. So we're trying to do as fast as possible. And I felt so bad because, I'd check in like every 10 minutes or so. I'd look and they're still kind of pacing around. And I'm like, man, I feel terrible about this, but we got to get this done. And so I'm just like, man, I hope they stay. And so, 20 minutes goes by, 30 minutes goes by, probably close to like 40 minutes. And they're still there. And I'm like, hey, are y'all okay? And they're like, yeah, we're good. And I was like, I promise we're almost done. Finally, we get done. I've got like junk all over my hands, like cleaning, trying to get it done. And then got some folks from the church, and I was like, hey, these ladies, they need some prayer. So we're going to take them into the sanctuary and we're going to start praying for them. And they're like, all right. So we bring them in and we're talking to them and stuff. And so thankful that immediately they gave their heart to Jesus, which was awesome. I think they've been saved before, but they rededicated their lives to Jesus, which is, always step one, right? Like in anything, like make sure that your heart's right, make sure that your sins are forgiven. And so that was great. We could have left right there, and I think typically that would have been awesome just in itself. But then we're like, hey, we want to pray for these situations that you got going on. I'm not going to go into a lot of detail here, but basically it's just like there's some heavy stuff happening. And so we start praying for this lady. And as soon as we start praying, I'm starting to get some weird vibes again. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. And so we pray, and then all of a sudden I say, Jesus. Like I'm praying, but I'm like also praising at the same time, kind of like just saying the name Jesus. Y'all, when I start saying Jesus, this lady covers her ears up and starts going, no, 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 and shutting her eyes and backing away from me. Based off of everything I just told you last week and the fact that like that's the first time I've ever encountered anything like that. And then for this all to happen in the way that it's happened, I mean, like you can only imagine everything going through my mind. And almost, well, every person that was in the sanctuary at that moment was also helping us pray last week when we were dealing with that. So I'm just like, what is happening right now? And so we start to pray, and again, like it wasn't like you could definitely tell that there was something there that needed to be gone. It wasn't quite as like I guess what should I say, adversarial as like the previous situation we had. That one was so intense; it's like over an hour. This one just kind of was backing away, and just I think whatever was in there knew what was about to happen. Knew that that this lady had stumbled upon a church that was going to lift up the name above every name. And so we kept praying, and I think all of a sudden we started seeing like her kind of taking these deep breaths, and then all of a sudden it's just like a big exhale, and then boom, she is like on the floor. To which I'm like, what do we do? Last time when the lady went on the floor, like the Holy Spirit is just like, you need to keep praying, you need to keep going. But this one was different. And so I look down and I look at her, and it's just like, again, like I don't, this is insane. Like I've never been around this type of stuff, right? And for this to happen in the manner that it's happening right now is just insane to me. But I look down and I see like her whole complexion changed, just like the lady did last week, exactly like that. And all of a sudden she looks up, puts her hand up for somebody to help her up. We help her up, and this lady is jumping. I mean, ecstatic, like clapping her hands together, eyes big as quarters, and just like, that's what it was. That's what it was. I had no idea. I mean, this is not what she came to us for. All right. I want to make that clear. This is not what we were praying for. We didn't think about this at all. It's just, she just felt like there was just this tension. She felt like there was this, and she had some other issues and things going on in her life. And so she was talking to a friend about some of this. I don't even know who this friend is. I don't know that this friend knows us. And this friend told her, like, hey, have you been down to that church? Like, you should go talk to them at that church. And it just so happens that as soon as she got done talking to her, she's walking down the road and she sees that we're outside making apple butter. Yes, the same apple butter that we were supposed to make the previous week, but for whatever reason, it got pushed back. And so now all of us are out there. And at that time, she walks by and she's like, this is crazy. They're going to be too busy. Like, this isn't going to work. And yet she comes anyway. And for whatever reason, like for the first time ever, the apple butter's cooking down so fast that we're able to get done at the same time that she needs us to pray. Y'all, this is crazy. But she's jumping up and she's shouting and she's like, oh, this is what this was. Like, I can't believe this. Like, this is incredible. She's like, I feel so alive again. I feel like I just feel like everything is better. I feel like my life has changed. I feel like I can breathe again, that type of mentality, And it was just incredible. And so we embraced her and we're celebrating, we're praising God. And then we just lose it as a church because we're like, what is going on? What is happening right now, right? And I look around at everyone in that room and I just tell them, like, this has to be what they felt like in the book of Acts, right? Like they were in the upper room. The Holy Spirit comes down. They're speaking in tongues. People thought they were drunk. They're like, what is going on? And then Peter gets up and he preaches and he's giving them biblical, like, foundations for what they're experiencing. And so that's kind of where I felt. Or what I felt like. We're all looking around like, what is happening right now? Like, how, like, it's just insane. Again, I don't want you to think that I'm trying to be like this person, right? I'm not. Like, I've been in ministry almost my entire life. Like my dad was a pastor my entire life. I'm going on 40 years. I'm almost 40 years old. And like, I've never had these types of encounters. And now all of a sudden, like in this season of preparation that I've just felt like this massive burden. Then all of a sudden within a span of 6 days, I encounter 2 different people that need deliverance. Are you kidding me right now? And our church, the people in our church, not backing down. Right? And just knowing that maybe for whatever reason we've been called for a time like this, knowing that, yeah, the end days are here, and no doubt it seems as though the devil is turning up that dial, like I said last week, but also knowing that God's got a church, y'all. Yeah, and I'm not just saying our church. I'm telling you, this is something that's going beyond us and beyond our four walls. Like, and I just want to continue to encourage each and every one of you that are watching this. People need help. They do. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of our churches are too busy doing other things. And if I'm being honest, I feel guilty about just how busy we were in that moment. But we were literally under fire, so to speak, and had to get the pots off the fire. But I felt bad even making her wait, but yet she was so determined. She was willing to wait. And I think that's what I want to tell you right now is like, don't be shocked when God starts sending these people to your church. And I know this seems like such a foreign thing. It was super foreign to us last week. But it seems to me that God's looking for some people that are willing to look past whatever expectation of church that they thought they previously had and willing to help people, because these people need our help right now. There's so many people out there. And I mean, the story gets even crazier. I got to be careful. I don't want to let out too much stuff, but like, I just want to show you how intentional God is with things. Okay. So this lady is not able to drive right now. So typically at our church, oh man, there's so much stuff. I'm sorry. Within the last 42 hours, we've had apple butter. We've had Sunday service, which was awesome. We've had children dedications. We've had baptisms. Okay. So your boy's a little tired right now, if you can't tell, but I just wanted to get this out before I crash. So, baptism, that was the other thing. So after this lady, after she's been set free, she looks at me and she was like, can I get baptized? Now you got to know, in our church, we're not a mega church. Okay. And we typically probably on average have about one baptism a year, to where we get everyone who wants to be baptized. That's just how we've done, right, wrong, indifferent, whatever. That's typically been our stance. But this year has been awesome, and we've had more people come to Jesus this year. And so we had planned a second baptism. And guess when that baptism was planned? For yesterday. It's planned weeks in advance, right? And so when she looks at me and she's like, hey, I want to get baptized. Can I get baptized? And I'm just like, actually, yeah, you can get baptized tomorrow, right? We're not we don't have a baptismal or anything like that. We have to go ask permission to go to a creek. So it's just a little thing, but it's an awesome thing. And then on top of that, one of my friends who I was going to be baptizing said, hey, Kevin, we would like to dedicate our youngest child. We haven't done that yet. We'd like to do it. And I was like, yeah, sure. We'll do a formal service, and we'll do baby dedications, children dedications, things like that. And he was like, why don't you just do it at the river? And I was like, I guess we can if that's what you really want. And he was like, yeah, I want you to do it at the river. And I was like, all right, sure. Or creek. And so I was like, okay, we'll do that. So the next thing the lady says, she looks at me and she's like, all right, great. I'm so thankful I can get baptized. She was like, I also want to dedicate my children. Can we do that? And I'm like, yeah, we can. We absolutely can. Y'all, this is crazy. And you're like, all right, this is okay, those are little small things. But I'm telling you, they're just little things where if you keep your eyes open, you see how God moves and how God's directing people, right? But then this one is the kicker. So Sunday morning, she comes, she brings her aunt and her two beautiful kids, and we got to figure out a way to get her to the place where we're going to do the baptism. And so we had a lady in our church who said, it wasn't supposed to be this way, right? She wasn't going to have an empty vehicle, but she said she had an empty vehicle. And she was like, yeah, me and my son, we can take them. We'd be glad to. I was like, all right, awesome. So before I tell you this, the lady that we prayed for, the day we prayed for, that Saturday, she told us that she had lost a dear friend not too long ago, and that it really shook her up. And I think she even mentioned something about a picture with him or something like that. And she was talking about how, he was such a close friend. All right, fast forward back. I pull into the place where we're doing the baptism. the lady from our church that volunteered to take them. Like when I'm pulling up, she's got tears coming out of her eyes, and I'm like, "What is going on?" I'm like, "Are you?" And I walk up, and I'm like, "Are you okay?" And she was like, "Kevin, you're not gonna believe this." And I'm like, "What?" So apparently, when they were in the car on the way to the baptism, they started talking, and they were talking about, just churches being accepting of types of people. There's a fly in here. Sorry. We made apple butter. The doors were open. That's why. Anyway, she was talking about churches being accepting of people and things like that. And so the lady from our church was like, yeah. And she was like, I had two brothers that looked a little rough and things like that. And she was like, I totally get it. We understand that. And we know that that everyone needs Jesus no matter what. And so, like, for whatever reason, this lady from our church pulls out her phone and shows this woman a picture of her brother that had passed. And the lady starts crying. And she said, "That's my friend. That's my friend I was telling you about." Ooh, I'm getting chills just telling you about this, okay? Y'all. Okay, there's no God. Okay, sure. Yeah, you want to believe that? You go ahead and believe that, okay? You go ahead. But as for me and my house, we're going to know that God is real, that God is moving pieces around, that if you're receptive to what he is trying to get you to see, that God will open up windows of heaven to you, that God will direct you, God will use you. I think that's the biggest thing today. We have churches that are so fixated. I'm about to preach right now, y'all. We got churches that are so fixated on, are we doing enough of this? Do we have enough of this? Are we doing that? Are we doing that? And we get all organized in how we're supposed to have a church to the point where the church becomes a business. And I'm sitting here telling you, I haven't even been a full-time pastor for more than 2 years. But what I am telling you right now, that if you're hungry for this and you thirst after this, that God will give you what you desire. And if you really want to see people's lives impacted and you want to see things happen and you want to see the signs and wonders of God, right? The Bible tells us this, that these things will follow us. Right? If we truly are the disciples that we say that we are, that these signs will follow us. And yes, one of those is casting out demons, as wild as it sounds. And so I sit here today just trying to wake you up to realize that church is much more than just going and singing a couple of songs, feeling good about yourself, hearing a little TED talk and feeling better about yourself. Church is about impacting the lost. Jesus came to set the captive free. And he wants to use us. And how humbled should we be that God would choose us? I think that's the overwhelming sense in our church right now, is that God is using us, just everyday simple people. And we're literally witnessing God's hand bring people into our doors. Yesterday in our church, we had 98 people in a church that comfortably seats about just a tad over 100, right? We had more yesterday than we had for Easter. And it's coming in good timing because in 2 weeks we're going to 2 services. And I'd love to tell you, like, this is because of all these different things, but all it ultimately is just being obedient, listening, pay attention to what the Spirit is prompting us to do. That's all this is. And being humble enough to say, God, not my will, but your will be done. Whatever you have for us, that's what we want to walk in. I'm telling you, get ready, get prepared. There's people out there that need you. They need the gospel. They need Jesus. And no matter where you are, what church you may go to, maybe you're a pastor, whoever you are, don't get so fixated on your schedule, on your events, on making sure that everything is perfect all the time. Our church isn't perfect. I'm 100% not a perfect pastor. God's still using us because we're available and because we're willing. And I just pray that more of our churches get to that place. We're not so worried about being perfect, but we're more worried about being prepared and ready so that God, when he sends them to us, that we open up our arms and we show them the love of Jesus the same way we saw it. Yeah, I appreciate you. If you've made it through this video, thank you. I don't know. I never intended on doing this, never intended on being a part of anything like this. It's just one day at a time, letting God use us. I'm praying for you. I'm praying for our community. There's a verse, I wish I could remember it. I can't remember where it's at. But the verse is pretty simple. It's like demons were getting casted out, people are being healed. And that verse, maybe I'll go back and look at it later. Again, I told you I'm not a perfect pastor, okay? So I think it's 8:8, whatever. It might be Acts, I don't know, whatever. But it's like, and the city was full of joy. The city was full of joy. And that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping that the New River Valley becomes a valley of joy. I'm hoping Rafford and Christiansburg and Floyd, Pulaski, Shawsville, Reiner, right? Like all the New River Valley. Let's make this a valley of joy, because the devil knows he's not welcome here. He's not welcome here. We have authority in the name of Jesus. Use it. Use it. I love you. Yeah, if you ever want to talk, let me know. All right? God's moving, and let's just keep working. Keep working until Jesus comes. See ya.